So this video is going to be on factoring and solving, but we are going to have much bigger polynomials to work with. And this video is going to make things easy for you because you are not going to have to find the first zero on your own. So the factor theorem. This is what we go with synthetic division from the last video. If x minus b is a factor of f of x, then f of b is equal to 0. That was if we have no remainder when we do synthetic division. That means that value is a solution. So, for number 1, it says factor completely. And I am going to give you one solution, and you are going to factor this completely. So this is what you need to do. You need to do synthetic division. But, little note, anytime you see 4 terms, the first thing you want to do is check to see if you can just factor by grouping. This one you can't. So, you've got your negative 3. You make your big ol' L, 2, 11, 18, 9. So you drop down your 2. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6. That's going to give you 5. Negative 15, that's going to give you 3. Negative 9, and hooray, you have no remainder. So from here, what you do is you write that, remember, starting 1 below. So this is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. Now remember, this said to factor completely, so you are not done. Now you have to use either Batman or split the middle term, box method, whatever method you like, and you factor this. So you're going to get 2x plus 3 and x plus 1. But since this said factor completely, your final answer is 2x plus 3, x plus 1, and x plus 3. Because you cannot forget that I gave you your first term. And remember, he came from x plus 3. Because when we were doing synthetic division, x equals negative 3 comes from x plus 3 equals 0. And that is your final answer when you are factoring completely. So that's why I said synthetic division isn't necessarily a factoring type of thing, but really it is used quite often when you are trying to factor. So, the other thing is, given one zero, find the other zeros. This basically means factor completely and then solve. So, I would like you to do number 2 and see if you can handle it using, I gave you the first 0, it's 2, and then go ahead and try to factor completely and solve. Try it on your own. So, did you get negative 3, 3, and 2? If you did, you're correct. You might have actually used synthetic division. And if you did, it's fine. But remember what I said in example number 1. Whenever you have 4 terms, you might want to check to see if they can just be grouped first. It'll save you some time. But if you didn't notice it and you use synthetic division with the 2, you probably got the same answer anyway. And as long as you have it completely factored and solved, you are good to go. So, number 3, same thing. Go ahead, set it up, solve it, and let's see how you do. So, just out of curiosity, how many of you said that x is equal to negative 3 and prime? Because you tried to factor, and this guy will not factor anymore, so that means you're done, right? No. Prime is not an answer for x. Remember, factoring is just one of the 5 ways you know how to solve a quadratic. So, unfortunately, if you wrote down just x is negative 3, or if you wrote down prime, you are wrong. You also need to set this guy equal to 0 and solve by quadratic formula or completing the square. And you need to get 4 plus or minus I root 2 all over 6. That is your final answer. Do not just write prime when you are solving. If you're factoring, yes, this is done. If it said factor, you are done right there. Can't go any further. See you bye. However, when you are solving, you must solve. All right? One more to go. I want you to factor completely and find all the other zeros. And this is the last problem in the notes. Have fun! If you got -2, 2, -3, and -1, you are good to go. Now, the factored form, I want you to remember, x is equal to a -1. That you must write x plus 1 for completely factored form. So don't forget that I gave you a 0. That's it for this lesson. This is Longo. I am out. See you bye.